Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about a single arm heavy club exercise to improve your throwing patterns for all sports, the single arm outside pendulum 180 pullover. This is a leg power exercise combined with rotation. Every sport benefits from rotating better. Every sport benefits from lining up your skeleton better. There is a reason Olympic lifters and kettlebell sport guys do better in crossover sports. They are generally prepared to do a lot of things. Clubs will add even more of that, especially if you practice any type of martial practice, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, any martial art from anywhere in human history will benefit from this exercise. This exercise sits somewhere above mills. Mills is the target exercise that we're constantly trying to get people to learn with the single arm club, the single arm mill, the single arm reverse mill, because think of it as the same throwing pattern that you would use for baseball or for football, and think of reverse mill as the one that you would use for violence, sometimes in sword fighting. There is no equivalent training that does this in a big box gym. Single arm heavy club training sits on top of two-hand heavy club training. In the beginning, you learn all of these movements with two hands, because if your feet don't move and your elbows lock out, then you know that you are rotating your ankles, your knees, your hips, and most importantly, your spine the correct amount. The component exercises are the two-hand outside pendulum, which turns into the single-hand outside pendulum, the two-hand rotating 180 pullover that turns into the single-arm rotating 180 pullover. When we combine those two exercises together, we get this combination exercise. Think of this as a rotating clean and jerk. To start this exercise, move the club outside of the opposite hand foot. The important part is that the elbow is locked and that the opposite shoulder is rotated back. This is in the deadlift family of movements at the bottom. At the bottom of a deadlift, rotated, shoulder back so that both arms could be locked. Club is outside of that foot. This is a side power clean, essentially. Side power clean, catch with locked legs. Your shoulder should be pointed 90 degrees off of center without moving your feet. There are moving feet versions of this, but they use lighter weights. Club goes behind the head, rotate 180 degrees without moving the feet, pull over, elbow comes to hip. Just like with a barbell clean or a kettlebell clean, where your elbow ends up is important. Reverse the movement. Behind the head, rotate, pull over, elbow stops, arm is at 90 degrees. Push, tip, load down. We'll take out this stop after we get the set position. If your elbow is bent or your chest is pointed at the ground, you're not doing it right yet. The goal is to rotate the spine at the bottom of the movement. Clean the weight off of the ground, catch. Behind the head, rotate, pull over, catch. Behind the head, rotate, pull over, catch. Push, swing, pull, catch. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Push, swing, pull, catch. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. When we are going to conclude the rep, we push it out, we stop the club from moving, elbow is locked because it is in the clean family of movements, set it back in the center, stand all the way up. Most people need to see things on both sides to effectively learn. The side effect is you get slightly different coaching cues when you hear it twice. The important part here is that we point our feet straight ahead. When we are doing this rotation at the bottom, if we have our feet straight ahead, our ankles, our knees, and our hips can do their job. If we turn out and try to do this, we end up putting unnecessary stress on a lot of parts of our body that doesn't need to be there. With our feet straight ahead, the arches of our feet can fire. That can stabilize our ankle, which can stabilize our knee, which can allow our hip to do its job. Other side, think of this as a deadlift family of movements down at the bottom. Take one hand, rotate, pull that opposite shoulder back. The spine is rotating. This is a leg exercise. Elbow is locked, spine is rotated. Power off of the ground, elbow touches the body. It does not track behind the body, touch the body. Go behind the head on the same side ear until your thumb touches your shirt. Rotate 180 degrees, pull over, elbow stops on the body. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Look physically from one side to the other. Push, tip. Right now, we're gonna touch it down so we can check our elbow. In future reps, we will take the stop out. Power clean. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Push. Don't touch down. It's a leg exercise. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Don't touch down. It's a leg exercise. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. Behind the head, rotate, pull over. When you are done, then you can touch it down. Come back to the center, stand all the way up. The most common mistake that people make is they do not put their feet straight ahead under their shoulders. They have their feet wide and they turn out. At the bottom of the clean, that causes them to do all kinds of weird things with the arch of their foot and with their knee. This should be like a normal standing position, like a foot close together, straight ahead deadlift. The next thing that happens is at the bottom, they lose their deadlift position. They straighten out one leg instead of maintaining that rotated deadlift position. It is deadlift, both knees are bent, one leg goes forward, one leg goes back, so that the spine can rotate. Think hips 45, spine 45, that gets us down. When people do the bottom wrong and they straighten a leg and they give up the deadlift position, they start to roll their spine instead of rotating their spine. We want to rotate the spine with heavy load, not roll the spine in this exercise. There are other exercises that roll the spine. This is not one of them. This is in the deadlift/clean family of movements. The next thing people do is they put their thumb up high instead of bringing it down close to their shirt. Our goal on the pullover is always thumb to shirt. Rotate all the way, pull over. You will see this thumb all the way up here, and people will start to torque their shoulders. Thumb down. Feet straight ahead, it's in the deadlift family of movements, so both legs bend, rotate the spine, do not roll the spine, and thumb needs to come all the way down to the shirt for the pullover. The last thing that people get wrong is they do not put their elbow on the body. The elbow tracks out and they cannot learn to balance the weight. The goal of heavy club swinging is to do the same things that Olympic lifting does, the same thing that heavy kettlebell training does. The goal is to work on basic movement patterns, combine them together in different ways, and go up in weight. The medium range goal for men that everybody should be trying to achieve is 30 pounds with one hand. Ladies, 60 to 70% of that number based on frame size, which puts you into the 22-pound range, depending on what weights you have available. If you cannot go up in weight, you are not in the right position yet, just like with Olympic lifting, just like with kettlebell sport.